Well, we're coming up on the very end of this restoration, and probably only a few days away from even test riding a bike. Now, I really, as I'm going through these parts this morning, and I'm checking if there's still any little thing I want to do before I put these on, I'm right in the middle of scheduling up the day, and I've been told this is going to be a very short day. Of course, Karen has things to do. They always have priority, but this part, I know from doing the part yesterday, required a lot of time trimming bolts, making brackets. This was a full day job, so I don't want to rush it. So what I'm going to do instead is there's a couple other little things I want to do. I'm going to try to get them out of the way, because this I want to do on a day that I have a big giant block of time. And a mistake I've made in the past was trying to do something like this when I only had an hour or two, and then the bolts don't fit and a washer doesn't line up and you need to make a bracket, and it makes you crazy. Where if I allow a giant amount of time, now I'll be better off. The reason I need a lot of time, and this is a real critical thing, this is a part that has to be fit in here. It's going to require making a special bolt that I don't have, probably a couple of trips to the store. I don't know yet. See, that's the point. If I knew ahead of time, it'd be easier to schedule up a day. But I know this is not going to be an appropriate project today, so I'm not even going to try. I've fallen for this trick before, and then I get outside and I rush and I lay out all the bolts, and then it's time to go, and I don't like that. So because summer's on its way, spring is already here. In fact, I hope. The electric jacket worked out great yesterday. In the morning when it was cold, it took the bite off the chill. I don't know if I'm going to need it this morning. It's supposed to be a nice day today. Now, just to make a point that I wanted to make, I have basically a whole day of work to do on the RD that I wanted to get it ready. I've already got the parts I need for the job, but I don't want to try to do that half of the day and then leave it in the middle. Scheduling up stuff or sequencing it, if you want to do things efficiently, it's very important to kind of make a plan what you want to do and get the right block of time. Today, unfortunately, is not that day. Now, what I'm going to do, yesterday I put these gloves, which were getting a little tight to get on and off. I put them on the 2 cans of hardener, steamed them. I'm going to let them sit a couple of days. They're sitting under a heating vent. I don't know if that even matters. But that'll make this pair of gloves just a little easier to get on and off. These are really nice. By the way, for anybody who doesn't know, if you've never had gauntlet gloves, a lot of people, what they do, they go buy a pair of gauntlet gloves and never realize there's an interference fit with your jacket sometimes that makes them really, really inconvenient and annoying. So before you go out and spend them, and these gloves have the fingers sewed together like MotoGP gloves would have. But the problem that I found with it is, just if you were going to put the gloves on and ride the whole day, maybe it would be less of a problem. But I take the gloves off every time I turn the camera on and off and shoot pictures. So for me, I have to be able to get my gloves on and off quickly. Now let's see how that works out a couple days from now. Now, I got a good call from my friend Aaron last night that he had done some work on his GS. He's got this exact same bike, and he needed some help putting the carbs back together. Not sure we're going to be able to help him, but he's got the carbs off the bike. That probably will make it a lot easier when he comes over. And I don't know when he's going to come over, but having this set all put together will be very handy if we can't figure out where, for instance, that part goes, or this part, or that. Now, I don't know what that's going to entail, and maybe we'll go up to Luciano's and have him give us some of his expertise. See, another thing, a block of time like this, not a good time to change tires. I like to have a tire change. I like to have at least a 2 or 3 hour block of time. We'll not have that today. Now, when I had my career working for Ford Motor Company, I was in charge of about 250 individual jobs a day that I had to schedule, and I had to do them efficiently, computer jobs. And so I became very aware of exactly how to schedule things and how to get the most efficiency out of a day. And if I can share any of that with you, I'm more than happy to. So what I did this morning, I put the bike in so I could work on this side when I get to the day that I'm going to be able to do that, and I'm not sure that's going to be today or tomorrow, tonight, or what. Every day in my life seems to be just a little different. But like any restoration project, it's a surprise every minute of every day. And the more I look at them, the more I say, I think they are evil twins. They do have that similar look. Now, another point I made yesterday, and it's a good point, of never throw the bolts away. And you can see why. Yesterday I needed a couple of short and a couple of long, and boy, going through my selection of stuff, see, and I always buy some extra long ones. These are all from Bolt Depot. They're all stainless steel. They polish up nice, and they're just a few cents each when you buy them from Bolt Depot. And when you need a special one, man, does that save your bacon. And as always, as I go along on pretty much any restoration I've ever done, there's always the little thing as you're going along you didn't realize that's a problem and you want to correct it. This is a good time to correct it. Now, with the new windshield on, one of the things I want to do, this gets very close. I want to just show this. See how close that gets to when you turn the handlebars? So, and I don't want to tip it down anymore. So what I decided to do is something that I've done on other bikes that have had similar problems. I want to get a small reservoir from a dirt bike or some other bike, so this will give me a little more clearance here. And this windshield is different than the other one. The other one didn't come back this far. And see, on the R1 that worked out great. This was it's from a dirt bike, really. And that's fine, of course, for what we're using it for. And it gives me plenty of clearance, even though on this bike, I don't need that clearance. Now, the other thing is I want to get a set of these mirrors. And these are about 20 bucks. I want to have them to experiment with. I've had similar ones on, but I've never had them on. And these are the ones, they stick out. This dimension from this is the part you actually see. This dimension is the longest of any of them that I've seen available at reasonable prices. And I have those mirrors on the 652, and they've worked out great. And the reason they work out so well is because they'll, from this point where they meet the bike to where you actually see out here, I mean, the ones that come with the bike, the mirror's in here. So this really gives you a really nice view of everything. But nothing is better than when I take a ride on the GS and I look in the mirrors and I can actually see what's behind me. What a unique experience. So that means now what's nice is one other detail. The mirror block offs, you can get at all the screws easily. So replacing this will be one of the next details. I gotta find one, of course, at Motorcycle Mall or Amazon or something. A different set of mirrors. I'm really not happy with these. And I've lived with the fact that you ride at really high speeds, these things move around. Luciano suggested putting Loctite here, or I don't want to do that either. Then it gets to be that you can't adjust them easily. So I think I'm going to have to just do some homework about a better set of mirrors. So because I'm getting ready for Karen, I'm just out in the garage dreaming about things I want to do here, because we're getting ready to go shopping for Easter presents for people, for our grandson, of course. And I'm sure she's going to want to buy some more bunnies. She's in her decorating mode, but I really do want to ultimately, on that bike, wind up with a good set of mirrors that I can see out the back of. So what I want to do is go through my spare brake lines, and I'll go through this bucket religiously, but I thought I had some. I guess I don't. Somewhere. Oh, maybe I do. Maybe I lied. Now that one looks a lot smaller, a lot lower. Do I have any other ones? That one's a little smaller. I've got to go through these, because maybe I already have one that before I look out. This is what I like about being a shit saver. The day you need something, you're glad you're a shit saver. And I do want to. Oh, maybe that one's going to be fine. I guess we're going to see in 1 minute. Let's see. You know, this one's a little bit lower. I think I'm going to go to get a small, now that I know I don't have any small ones. I want the small one like I have on the R1. I'll have to go look around and buy one. I mean, everybody laughs at me of being a shit saver and saving all this stuff, but then the day they need a special thing, hi Wendy, I'll be right over. So I wanted to show what being a real shit saver, rat packer, whatever you want to call it is. Now somewhere in there, I have a bag with about, it's right here, with about 100 mirrors in it. I gotta take them out and see what I have available here. The trouble, I do have plenty of mirrors that each in their own way have something going for them. The bar end mirrors, these were nice and big, but they always got loose. And some cute little carbon fiber ones that you couldn't see anything out of. I'm not sure. These were from the 750, but I really, now that I know I don't have any, so it looked like I'm going to have to buy a set of mirrors, number one. And I had to quit. Even being a shit saver, I don't have enough stuff here. But believe me, we will get this all sorted out. Spring is coming, but right now it's time. Karen has just given me the word. It's time. And one thing good, when Karen says it's time to go, it's time to go. And it really is time to go. There's no negotiating. And it looks like we're coming up on a really beautiful next 3 or 4 days. And we will not rush it, but we will definitely get this bike done. So this is the official bunny headquarters of northern New Jersey. Can't believe I'm spending this whole day buying bunnies. One thing I give Karen full credit for, she loves to decorate the house for the seasons. And not only for the grandchild, it's for the husband. And after a big day of shopping for bunnies, there's only one thing left to do. This makes extra shopping possible. So I'm spending a little time today doing some research, as long as I don't have any real blocks of time. I want to order the mirrors, and I want to look for that, as always on Amazon, there's 80 million things to choose from. It looks like these are about $16 and similar to the ones I already have on 2 different bikes. Probably my first choice. Now what's nice about these, they're a lot smaller. I just have to check that the hose going in and out is going to be the right one. So by spending this time today and getting these parts ordered today, it'll speed up getting the final little details on the bike. Yeah, I'm noticing it comes in 10 different anodized colors. Of course, what I really want is black. Wonderful, they make black. Oh, let's see, should I get green? Nah, black. Now, while I'm out at the bike, I see I have one choice here. I have the way it's all set up. I could use the mirrors that mount on the handlebars. I even have a gap right there I can use, so that's a nice thing to have. And I didn't realize until I did this. And I also have the ability, see, this will go straight down. This will be perfect. This is going to work out really nice. Get rid of this, have a black thing here. See, I don't like this. It's nice and chrome and everything, but it sparkles in your face when you're riding. That'll make that a little more innocuous. I may have to get rid of this camera mount to do that, which I don't care. I have plenty of other camera mounts. So it looks like the parts we've got ordered are going to work out great. Now Karen made a good point that, I don't know, I guess I just don't think this way. She said that they're $14 each or $16. Order both sets and see which one you like better. So what I would have is I'd have the choice of mounting them, of course, here and on the bar, on the handlebars, with 2. Always better to have 2 choices. Also on the handlebars, they'll be sitting out just about well, they'll be about where these are. And I'm not overly concerned about the appearance as much as I I want to be able to see behind me. I've had a couple of close calls with people that haven't been able to see them behind me, and don't need that anymore. And having said that, it's time to go get our grandson. Oh, I just tell you, I get excited just coming out to the garage and looking for parts on Amazon, and this project has really floated my boat for a whole winter. We're into the 6th month of this. So we got a lot done today, and it's time our life becomes the adventures of Miles and Grammy. Well, today's the day, the lucky day. The only problem is it's below freezing again. Oh my God, I gotta get all bundled up. Ay. I got a better idea. Maybe I'm just gonna wait a while. Karen has a couple of things left for me to do. But hey, today's the day. I'm gonna get that fairing on today, and hopefully we'll get to see the bike. That'll finish off the fairing part of the job. I'll be very excited to see that. And the last thing I have to do, I have to assemble a fuel tank, the petcocks and everything. Go down to the gas station, get some fuel, put the seat on. Might get it all done today. Might not. You never know how this day is going to play out. Every day is a surprise. Start this day off with one of my favorite jobs. Hot water. Super heavy duty cleaning. Let it rip. And it really is one of the good secrets, is to keep the microfibers clean. Wash them regularly. Have enough of them that you always have a pile on hand that isn't all dirty. It's a good trick. And speaking of microfibers, these ones that Dale brought over, he brought some, I donated it to the A-team. The Kirkland, I mean, I'm sure that means they came from BJ's. These are still the best. I've washed these so many times, and they still have that nice microfiber feel. Good little tip. All right, time to install fairings. It's time to do this. And the first thing I did, I just wanted to make a preliminary fit here because I want to line up, I want to get all the bolts that I'm going to need. And I want to make sure I don't have any interference issues here on anything. Some of the bolts have to be, there's paint and Bondo in them. Okay, now the first thing I did on the other side, and it worked out okay, is just to get one of these aligned, and then I can set these 3 screws in place. Once those are in, then I can work on getting the other 2 in place. In other words, I'm starting from the top down, and that seemed to work on the other side. Well, we'll see. There's always some fine tuning after you've done all of the work we've done on these parts. Now, it's totally different if you start with factory parts. The problem is, half of these parts are factory parts, some of them are AirTech parts, some of them are custom parts, some of them are modified, some of them are glued, like that front fairing. There's parts that are glued to it and you bondoed to it and everything. So there's always some little fine tuning. There's always a couple of things. There's Bondo in that hole, and I don't want to take a chance with the reamer. Adjusting all the holes so that everything lines up is a giant part of this job. Now, with a little help from our friend the Dremel tool, every one of the holes is a little bit of a problem because these are just stuff that's been repaired. It's just everything about it is challenging at this point, but one by one, I'm getting all the holes. Now, the last thing just takes time. It takes an incredible amount of time. The front bolt is a special bolt I have to make up when I get that triangle piece in place. But there's two bolts for the back fairing. And, of course, the bracket that never came with the bike. I've got to make up a bracket now to use that. Same as yesterday, it's always a challenge. But everybody knows that's ever done this, it's never easy. It's only easy when it's done and you'll get to look at it when it's all finished. When you got to do it and line up every hole and cut every bolt, it just takes forever. Now one thing is really handy when you try and do this, and another thing, because we're trying to look inside the fairing, my mirror on a stick, two handy tools. Looks like we got the bottom pretty much set. Oh, that's good and solid. Now it's that front piece that's going to be challenging. I know. I'm preparing myself for that right now. Now I knew right from the beginning of the job this was going to be requiring a special bolt, and I don't know if I have it. And I made some pieces that this is all going to have to fit inside. I'm sure there'll be a little fine tuning here. Now what's funny is when I first got the bike, this piece was missing. And this is a piece that's not an AirTech part. So this is, I don't know why that is, because again, we know that this bike has been crashed. We know that, as an example, that the bodywork had been repaired even before I got it, and it looked like maybe multiple crashes. But fitting that piece in there is a really, believe it or not, it's a tricky job. And I always thought that in the worst of all worlds, when I bought the bike, it was wide open, and that's not objectionable either. So if I can't get that piece to fit the way I want and be in there, I'm just going to have to get that bolt, and that's a really special bolt. It's really an annoying thing to have to get that. And I may, if it's my lucky day, I'll have it, but I wouldn't be betting on it right now. I'm not sure if you can see this. I'll try to shine a light up in there. But there's an interference on both sides. That little piece that we made to hold this in place, luckily I have the Dremel tool out here already. This is going to be just, I hope, a Dremel tool job. Now using a Dremel tool, I'm just taking one little slice at a time off, because that is a tight fit in there. See, now what I really should have done is mounted all these parts up before I painted them, and I wouldn't have to do some of this, but it was really in the middle of the winter, and so it's going to add an extra day to the job. Doesn't mean anything. Right now I'm so excited about seeing this go together. A day doesn't mean anything. And it's really, this, if you saw it in real life, I think it really looks nice. Now that little triangle piece, for whatever reason, is just going to be too hard to fit right now. I really have to work on that as a separate thing. So in the meantime, I did find a bolt long enough for the bottom, and I'm just going to cut this off down at the grindstone and clean it up, polish it up, and that'll be the last bolt to deal with. Then we can snug everything down. So this is a good tip. Whenever you're going to cut a bolt, put the nut on all the way. In this case, I want to cut it right at the end of the nut, so this part of the threads won't matter at all, and I'll have to dress the end of that off. But always have the nut on. That cleans up the threads if you don't get a clean cut. Here's the whole reason for doing this, is the nut is now just putting the threads back exactly the way they should be. Now, what I'm doing is a test fit on this part. This is where it's always handy to be able to make your own hardware. Always have extra long bolts you can cut down. Now with all the parts in place, and I've moved this around as much as I can, I've had to make some brackets for the bottom, but all of these are basically ready to be torqued down. Don't forget to drop the wrench. That always makes it look hard. Okay, everything here is ready. Now the only thing I'm kind of sad about, that I guess I'm not really sad at all, is that yellow piece, I kind of like the way it looks because it's black in there. It's flat black. Maybe, yeah. I can always add that piece later or make something else or buy a new piece, but it really just didn't fit. Problem is both of these fairings have been in crashes and been moved and twisted, and and even when you get new parts, sometimes it's hard to get them to line up exactly right. But everything else looks real nice here, and everything here came out beautiful. But boy, this was to talk about a labor of love. Wow. So the day ended with only one major change that I had to make here. I got rid of that, and I kind of like the way it looks without that triangle piece in there. I did the same thing to the 650. I got rid of the lower fairing, and I liked it better. See, now, if you look at it closely, it picks up that stripe just like as if it's going right in. I didn't plan it that way, just lucky. And I really like that. It's really, I didn't figure it out that way, but that almost matches, and it matches that curve there. So I try to look at it from every possible angle, low, high, above, below. Boy, that exceeded my wildest dream. And we got to wait, I guess, tomorrow or the next day. The other little parts are going to come, the mirrors, the reservoir. I'm trying to think what else we got. 3 or 4 things coming. Just certain parts of this that I know are going to make for a better motorcycle. The new front end, the repaired rear wheel, among other things. Just going to make for a much nicer bike. Oh, and summer is coming. It was cold this morning. It warmed up rather quickly, and we took advantage of the whole day. Yeah, I do like it better without that triangle piece in there. I'm not sure why. That's just something that dropped in my lap. So I hope Najat is getting ready to do a nice photo shoot here very soon. The fish are coming out of hibernation totally. A couple days from now we'll be feeding them. You know, I always felt, even going way back when they were new, I always thought the FZR was one of the most beautiful bikes. The lines of it were like a classic bike like the GS 1100 is. Just a classic, like a frozen in time of that era. Now actually, as I look at it, I think it really is, it's great that we got rid of that front piece. That just, I'm amazed. See, sometimes it only takes one little thing to change the whole look of a motorcycle. And some of the racing Yamahas had what amounts to be a black front fender on this paint job, similar paint job. And I just thought, oh my God, there's going to be too much black up there. And so glad I didn't paint the wheels gold. As I see this laid out now, wow, this is really, really floating my boat. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Boy, this is just coming out. It's unbelievable. To me, it's unbelievable. I don't know if you appreciate it. But anyway, I've really enjoyed this restoration like no other, and I hope you followed along and got with some of the ups and the downs and the surprises we've had. It's been a load of fun. And again, thanks for watching.